Thank you. Well, I want to start where the last speaker ended, about the crowd. Look at this crowd. Black, white, Hispanic, men and women, Catholic and Protestant, Republican and Democrat. We are the pro-life movement, and we are going to win. I'm Peter Wolfgang, as you heard. I'm the executive director of the Family Institute of Connecticut. We are your pro-life voice up at the state capitol and throughout Connecticut. Somewhere in this crowd actually is a clipboard where we're collecting names. If you're not already on our email list, maybe we can get the clipboard over to this table. If you're not already on our email list, get on our list. We are the grassroots advocacy organization for this, but we cannot do it without a larger membership, so please sign up. We're here today because of Roe versus Wade, because it's the 39th anniversary of a Supreme Court decision that, in an act of raw judicial power, as one of the dissenters in that decision said, overturned the laws protecting the unborn in all 50 states in one swoop. And here we are, 39 years later, 53 million abortions. It's hard to improve on the speakers that you've already heard today. You heard the young man, the pastor, who talked about a third of his generation had already been eliminated. 53 million people who should be here that are not here right now. It's a genocide, and that's why we're all here today. Moved by truth, by natural law, by the Spirit of God, we are here to say no to this, to put an end to this. Now, that's the bad news. You've already heard some of the good news from some of the other speakers. You heard Michael DePrimo talking about what a record year it has been for the pro-life cause in 2011. Legislation all across the country. Planned Parenthood saying it was their worst year ever. There has been so many incremental pro-life laws that have been passed that are turning the tide in our favor. You can tell at some point I'd say in the 1990s, the pro-abortion side reached their high water mark, and really for the last 10 or 15 years now, you can see more and more it's moving in our direction, to the point where even Gallup polls now show that a majority of Americans call themselves pro-life. We're going to win this thing someday. We're going to win it nationally. We're even going to win it here in the state of Connecticut. It is true, as Mike said, that no legislation was passed in Connecticut in this past year, but it's Connecticut. You know, as I think Americans United for Life rated all 50 states, and Connecticut was something like 42 out of 50. We are one of the most pro-abortion states in the entire country. But even here in Connecticut, progress was made in 2011. We had, for the first time ever in our state legislature, this has been our biggest legislative goal for years, we had a public hearing on a parental notification law. Connecticut is one of a few states in the entire country that do not have even a parental notification law. Just getting that public hearing, and TR is a modest man. Representative TR Rowe, who sat on is the co-chairman of the committee that made that hearing happen. That would not have happened without Representative TR Rowe. It was the best day that the pro-life movement has ever had at the Connecticut State Capitol, and it happened just this past June. Senator Len Suzio out of Meriden in the Family Institute of Connecticut's Political Action Committee played a major role in his special election last February. Well, during the state budget battle at the end of the last session, Senator Suzio introduced an amendment to defund Planned Parenthood from our state budget. The amendment, of course, you know, there wasn't a vote, it didn't pass, but that amendment happened at all. I mean, it caused a huge ruckus at the state capitol. When in living memory have we ever had even a discussion at the state capitol about the fact that Planned Parenthood gets $3 million even from our state budget in Connecticut, and that's wrong, that money should not be going to Planned Parenthood? It caused a huge ruckus at the state capitol. So for the first time ever, we had a public hearing on a parental notification law. We had an actual debate on stripping state funding out of Planned Parenthood just in the state of Connecticut. We also got NARAL to pull back from something that they were going to introduce. They were going to try to introduce buffer zones to prevent you good people here in Bridgeport and our friends in Hartford and elsewhere from being able to approach the women and persuade them as they walk into the clinic not to take the life of their unborn children. NARAL put something out that they were going to do that this year. We came out immediately, the Hartford Courant caught wind of it, and NARAL backed down. So little by little, even in the state of Connecticut, you can see that progress is being made. Now, this hasn't been well received by the other side, as you can imagine. There was a press conference on Monday at the state capitol in Hartford. And you know, it's funny because it was a press conference, there was media there, but unless we had our own people there in the room, you would never know some of the inflammatory things that were said at that press conference. These things never get reported. There was a United Church of Christ pastor there. This is the UCC, the mainline Congregationalist church. She said, and this was with approving members of the Malloy administration, Denise Merrill, who's the Secretary of State, Kevin Lembo, who's the Comptroller, Chris Donovan, who's the Speaker of our House of Representatives, running for Congress, with all of them kind of looking on, approving, nodding their head. This United Church of Christ pastor, she said that there is, are you ready for this? A sacred right to abortion. She called abortion a holy work and blessed by God. These are the things you never read about in the newspapers. But there's just no shame there. They're willing to just say this publicly in front of a microphone under the Gold Dome at our state capitol with all those statues of the Puritan and Pilgrim founders of Connecticut looking down from on high. Unbelievable, unbelievable. And Denise Merrill and Kevin Lembo and most of the Malloy administration and some of the top leaders of our legislature looking on, approving. My personal favorite was Chris Donovan, who said, and Denise Merrill said this too, that they just can't believe that we're still talking about this in 2012. They can't believe this is still an issue. They can't believe that the taking of human life is still an issue. Are you kidding? So, and I think we probably have some monitors here from the other side. So please, send the word. I'd like to explain to Chris Donovan why the pro-life movement is so strong. Look around. Look at all of you. Now, the merchants of death in the state of Connecticut, they have almost every leader of our state government. But the unborn have you. They have you. And we have God, or rather, God has us. And we are going to win this. We're going to win this because we're on the side of right. We're going to win this because we're on the side of the Declaration of Independence. Life, liberty, the pursuit of happiness, and the first one is life. Right in the Constitution of the United States, what are the first three words? We the people. We the people. And look at the long arc of history of the United States of America. When this country started, we were a country where only white men over the age of 21 who owned property had the right to vote. And the long history of America is a history of widening that circle of the commonly protected, of who belongs to the community of persons, of we the people. And so over time, slavery was ended. Black folks and women got the right to vote. And so on. We just increased that circle of we the people until you come to 1973, when for the first time in the history of our country, we took an entire category of persons who are understood to be part of our community, to have the protection of law, and say, no, you're not part of we the people. We're going to declare you non-persons, and we're going to allow the law to let people do whatever they want to you. A sort of private right to lethal violence. Well, the people who did that, the people who stand with that today, stand outside the great tradition of America. We stand with the Declaration of Independence. We stand with Martin Luther King. And like that earlier civil rights movement, of which we are the continuation, we will overcome. The day will come. We will overturn Roe v. Wade. And again, I think as Mike said, every time a woman chooses not to abort for that woman, Roe v. Wade has already been overturned for her. We know we'll win someday. We know Roe v. Wade will be overturned. And I want to end with this. You folks here, You're saving lives right now. The day will come when we restore legal protection, when every unborn child in America will be protected in law and welcomed in life. But in the meantime, we're looking to you folks here in Bridgeport with what you've been accomplishing. As of this morning, your own website said 2,185 babies saved since 1990. We're going to win, but you guys are saving lives right now. You're saving lives right now, Maryland. All of you here. Every day that you do this, you're saving a life. The rest of us are looking to you. And when that bright day comes, when we win, we'll be able to look at the things that were accomplished here and say that we stayed faithful, that there were people here that stood up, that lives were saved all along. God bless you. Get on our mailing list because a lot of stuff's going to be happening at the state capitol. We will win. We will overcome. We the people. We are we the people, and the people being killed in there are we the people too. We will overcome. Thank you.